but what could be done? All right. Okay. You guys ready for Bhagavatam?
Yes.
All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
That means
Our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva, who is the all-pervading Lord.
oh goodness. I apologize again for my tiredness and naturally getting up earlier than I should. So I'll have to be better about this in the future. So yes, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Parth.
Narayana, unto Narayana, Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
Srinvatam Sokata Krishna
Srimad Bhagavatam Krishna,
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Punya Shravana Kirtana,
Hridyanta Stoya Bhadrani
Yanta Soya Bhadrani,
Vidunoti Saritsatam.
Vidunoti Saritsatam.
Michael.
Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma within everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the heart from material enjoyment of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous and properly heard and chanted.
Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu
Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki.
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki.
Who's got it?
very clear hearing on the classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. In loving service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact.
Wonderful. Alright. And just to do this, because I'll need the help of the gurus today, and I keep forgetting when I start reading, I get too excited. So, Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhani Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna, Prishtaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine, Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Vashayati Shatarine. Okay. Yes.
I saw you doze off a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm really tired today. So, somehow or other, I'm going to have to get through this class. And you guys are going to have to get through this class with someone leading it very sleepy. So, where are we at? we were talking about yesterday how everyone is bewildered by Krishna, and how he appears and the fools don't recognize his position, and the wise, like Bhishma and Narada, they do recognize his position. Even it mentions Lord Shiva, Kapila, who's also an incarnation of Krishna. So Krishna knows Krishna's position. So this is very interesting and nice. And that he's mentioning that there's a type of divine ignorance that the devotees get, where you think that, oh, he's your maternal cousin or your very dear friend, your well-wisher and counselor. And this is the work of Yogamaya. He is all that things, and actually we want to have a relationship with the Lord, a very unique and specific relationship. But if you have all kinds of knowledge of the Lord's almighty nature, it kind of makes it hard to have a one-on-one relationship. So you actually, the hope is that the Lord will put you under a certain blanket of ignorance that will kind of bewilder you. I'll give you an example of in the material world, just because it's very relevant to me. Childbirth is a very painful experience, but it's very imperative that childbirth continues. And so I found out not too long ago from Brittany, one of our congregation members here, that when a woman gives childbirth, there's a well-known phenomena that's known as pregnancy brain, that you basically your brain isn't functioning as sharp as it once was. And why? Your body literally sends hormones, the natural circumstances send hormones in such a way that will kind of befuddle you. And why? Because, the scientists believe that it's so that the woman will forget how traumatic or painful the experience is and then want to do it again, because that will continue on the species of life. So it's kind of like a divine ignorance that's necessary for things to happen. That's a crude example in the material world, but Krishna has his own examples. If you want to have a really nice experience with Krishna in a very sweet way, knowing his almighty nature doesn't really facilitate that. That only facilitates you being like, yes, Parth.
So, Brajvasis, the devotees of Vrindavan, they are in this bewilderment. It's stated in purport of text 18, last paragraph. It's a two types of bewilderment: internal energy and external energy.
Yes.
So that's the bewilderment of internal energy.
That's the internal bewilderment. You could say Yoga Maya, the divine ignorance. But that's very nice. That's a very nice situation. Just like when you go into a movie theater and you have the big screen and then the music is blaring and you get really enraptured in the characters and the plots and all this, that, and the other thing. And people are shedding tears. In a good movie, people will shed tears or their emotions will jump. Why? They kind of were putting into this ignorance of thinking this is all real. Even it's all staged. It's all a staged thing, but they're thinking this is all real. So similarly in the spiritual atmosphere, not that it's not real, it's very real. But the Lord has to facilitate the conditions so that what's called the ras, or the juice of relationship, is just right. And if you have too much jnana present in your consciousness, there's no chance for you. It's interesting, you need the jnana to get out of, we're in the, what's called, see, now I'm waking up because now I get to talk about good things. So thank you, Parth, for enlivening me. But we're in what's called the external energy, Mahamaya. We're not in the good Maya. So we're in a very foolish form of ignorance where the result is pain and misery, and identifying with things which are not true, which is this world. But ultimately, in order to get out of that, you actually need jnana. But interestingly enough, like Divya Gyan, and that's why they glorify the spiritual master, because he's giving that jnana, he's giving that type of thing that you need. But then what ends up happening is once you get the jnana, as you start facilitating your relationship with the Lord, he'll start like, okay, that's nice, because jnana puts you in what's called the ras of shanta. Shanta is like the neutral, like you know everything about like the Lord's different energies and how he's interacting, and you're just like, well, not really much for me to do. This is all just the Lord doing all his energy, this, that, and the other thing. So you kind of just sit and you're a meditator, you're an observer. But for those who know of the process of ras and want to actually experience relationship with the Lord, the wise start to serve, because that's the first one into the relationship mellows. They start to be of service to the Lord and acting in service. And with that, the Lord will, he has an energy called Yoga Maya, which will put you in more and more levels of what seems like ignorance, but actually setting the stage for all kinds of relationships of divine bliss. And so, the farther you progress in that you're cultivating your relationship with the Lord, the further away from that shanta state you'll be, where you know all of the Lord's different energies and all the jnana and things like that. And that's where all of the really divine emotions and the tasting of rasa, and actually what really gives the Lord the most enjoyment. So if you have this jnana, you'll be interested in having so much jnana that you'll want to enter the path where the Lord will remove your jnana. But that's, that's up to the Lord. You can try, but like it's hard, once you see something, it's really hard for you to unsee it. Like, I don't know. This is a relevant example, I guess. Like, imagine you had a teacher, a professor, and you have your professor, you have a relationship with him, but then your professor, you find out that he's like a convicted murderer or something. It'll be very, very very difficult for you to have the same relationship with the professor. Yes. Things like that happen. But you find out, oh my God, he's like a brutal murderer. Once you know that, you can't really unknow. You can't really, the relationship isn't there. So before you knew he was a murderer, you liked him maybe. Oh, he was a nice guy. He's a nice guy. But then you found out he's a murderer and you don't like him anymore. And so similarly, if we have too much knowledge about the Lord's position, it's great to get out of the material world. You need it, actually. It's the process. But now you've been liberated and you're working on the spiritual relationship, the Lord will have to take that away from you again so you can really experience the ras, or the juice, the nectar of the relationship with the Lord. Right now, kind of, we're all, entering the process, and dancing around the Shanta stage. Maybe on our way up to Shanta, or maybe even cultivating some Shanta and entering into Dasya. But hopefully over time, and over meeting the Vaishnavas who've gone deeper, you can be gifted new layers of Yoga Maya that will take away a certain view of the Lord, that will facilitate less nectarian relationship. So it's like that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So Yoga Maya is the bewilderment of internal energy, and Maya.
Mahamaya.
Mahamaya is kind of bewilderment from
Yes. Both Maya. Maya, you could say that which is not, both Maya, but one is bewildering us in a bad way, the external way.
And one is pushing us towards goodness.
Yeah. Well, one is pushing us towards, you could say, like a divine relationship with the Lord, and it builds upon service.
It creates circumstances which are favorable for your divine.
Yes.
Because this is Yoga Maya, right? No, Mahamaya.
Well, I mean, you're here in the temple. I mean, you guys have all kinds of bewildering circumstances in your life. You know, especially you guys, you know, with your job situations and the uncertainties and this, that, and the. Actually, this is Yoga Maya working in your life. Whereas, you know, you go outside this building in Syracuse and Mahamaya is working in everyone else's life. Because why? They haven't wanted, likely, it's very likely, you know, over down in Manlius where Craig and Michael were at, little did we know when we came here that Yoga Maya was working there to help pull them further towards Krishna. No, it must have. But at the same time, Maya's always working to bewilder. But, you know, she'll bewilder you in a great way as opposed to the punishment way of this material world. So don't if you feel she's bewildering you in your devotional life, like, remember, what did we say yesterday? What's the Lord doing through that Yoga Maya energy? She's doing you what? Yeah, she's giving you a favor. Because she's pushing you towards something way better. So anyhow, let's read though. We didn't read. 21. Sarvatmana samadrisho Hyadvayasyana hankrite Tadkritam mati vaishamyam Niravadyasya nakvachit Sarvatmana, of one who is present in everyone's heart. Samadrisha, of one who is equally kind to one and all. He, certainly, Advayasya, of the Absolute. Anahankrite, free from all material identity of false ego. Tatkritam, everything done by him. Mati, consciousness. Vaishamyam, differentiation. Niravadyasya, freed from all attachment. Na, never. Kvachit, at any stage. Chai. Being the absolute personality of Godhead, he is present in everyone's heart. He is equally kind to everyone, and he is freed from the false ego of differentiation. Therefore, whatever he does is free from material inebriety. Inebriety is like a drunkenness, you know, intoxication. He is equibalanced. So the Lord is free from, he's present one in everyone's heart. He's kind to everyone. Remember, you know, if he's giving us trouble, what's he really being to us, Tanmay? He's doing, but he just said, what does he do? He's being what? Kind. He's being kind to you. Yes. He's equally kind to everyone. Yes. So he's, you know, if he, you know, gives one person a job and he gives another person no job, he's being kind to both of them equally. You know, because that will be what that person needs to grow. Like that. And he is free from the false ego of differentiation. Right? He's not seeing anyone, oh, you're bad, you're good, you know, things like this. So he's equibalanced. And he's completely free from material inebriety. So Prabhupada is saying, because he is absolute, there is nothing different from him. He is Kaivalya. There is nothing except himself. Everything and everyone is the manifestation of his energy, and thus he is present everywhere by his energy, being non-different from it. The sun is identified with every inch of the sun rays and every molecular particle of the rays. Similarly, the Lord is distributed by his different energies. He is Paramatma, or the Supersoul present in everyone as the supreme guidance, and therefore he is already the chariot driver and counsel of all living beings. When he therefore exhibits himself as chariot driver of Arjuna, there is no change in his exalted position. It is the power of devotional service only that demonstrates him as the chariot driver or the messenger. Since he has nothing to do with the material conception of life, well, that last statement, it is the power of devotional service only that demonstrates him as the chariot driver or the messenger. So why did he agree to be the chariot driver or the messenger? In this case, Arjuna.
Because of Arjuna's devotional service.
Yes, because Arjuna's devotional service, and so the Lord Himself come and demonstrates the great glory and the power of the devotional service, where that all powerful, all wonderful personality will come and associate in such a way with such a devotee. So this is actually very much the why we do service. We focus on seva and make our life a form of seva, because this is the type of thing that it could eventually grow into. The Lord will personally be there for you. But right now we're a bit distant. We're quite distant. So anyhow, since he has nothing to do with the material conception of life, because he is absolute spiritual identity, there is for him no superior or inferior action. Being the absolute personality of Godhead, he has no false ego, and so he does not identify himself with anything different from him. The material conception of ego is equibalanced in him. He does not feel therefore inferior by becoming the chariot driver of his pure devotee. It is the glory of the pure devotee that only he can bring about service from the affectionate Lord. That's very important. Only by the glory of the pure devotee that only he can bring about service from the affectionate Lord. So, this is how we conquer God. It's not with anything other than love. And a symptom of love is service. If you love somebody, there's service to that person. Or it's just empty words. Or it's like, let me tell you I love you, but really I want something from you. That's what, love. Even most relationships and things like that. Even my wife and I, we're trying to actually learn what it means to actually love each other. We've told each other we love you so many times. In Western relationships, it's like a big deal. Who says I love you first? Oh my God, they said I love you. And then that's that's like somehow a big deal, and that's when the relationship is getting serious or something like this. But what is really love? It's the desire to actually want to serve. That's real love. If it's just
Selflessness.
yes, it's love is completely selfless. But what's that? Shivadas. Hare Krishna Shivadas. Very nice. So we're talking about love. And so what it really means to love is completely selfless. And it's actually completely glorious. But we have to be taught. No one ever taught us how to love. Only people taught us how to lust. And then we call it love. No one actually taught us how to love. And what is love? Love, the symptom of love is service. That's why we're here practicing bhakti, which is the yoga of love, and Prabhupada calls it what? What two words? Devotional service. Service with devotion, the object of love. So, okay, and now let's just say you want to, do devotional service to your, let's just say your wife, or your girlfriend in this circumstance or something like that. If she's not trained in how to understand love and accept love, actually you're like throwing your pearls before a swine. That's as Jesus would say. So we have the proper receptacle of devotional service is God, and actually you can all relationships, everything. It's mentioned here in these past few verses. The Lord is within the heart of everyone. It's just the Lord's energy. Different manifestations, whether it's Tanmay, Michael, Katha, Parth, Sita, all these people that we know, these are all just different manifestations of God. The wallpaper, the walls, everything is the energy of God. He's showing up in so many different ways. But so naturally we're only giving devotional service unto Him anyway, so we should do it a little bit more with some understanding in the beginning. So we get out of this, what we mentioned as false ego or Mahamaya's external energy bringing us into ignorance. And if anything, we can get into the true ego, and the true ego is what? What is the identification of the true ego? False ego is I'm identifying with something that I'm not. Like, I'm this body, I'm Indian, I'm a man, I'm a yoga teacher, I'm whatever your name is, I'm from this ethnicity, that thing, this, that, and the other. These are actually temporary designations. They're not really who you are. What is the real ego?
Part and parcel.
You're a part and parcel of God. Now, what does a part and parcel do? Like a computer. There's many parts and parcels in this computer. What do they all do? Yeah, they all work together in service to, so the computer functions, right? So naturally, all the parts and parcels, they have to ultimately serve the Lord to be a useful function. If not, the Lord will just get rid of that. Just like if you have some dust in your computer, it's also part and parcel of the computer, but it's not good that it's in there, so you get someone to get rid of it out. So similarly, we're all given a shot to be part and parcel of the Lord, but some of us are, most of us in the material world at least, we're like dust in the computer, and the Lord just says, we have to get rid of you, and then boom, yes, someone blows you away, and then you die, and then you have to get another, and you keep tumbling through samsara until you finally become useful. Become a useful part and parcel of the Lord. Don't just be this useless piece of dust in the great computer of life. So anyhow, very nice. Let's read at least one or two more verses. Tathapye kanta bhakteshu Pashyabu panukampitam Yanme sum styajata sakshat Krishna darshanam agataha Tathapi still ekanta unflinching bhakteshu unto the devotees Pashya see here Bhupa O king Anukampitam how sympathetic Yat for which me no it's may my asun life Tyajataha ending Sakshat directly Krishna the personality of Godhead Darshanam in my view Agata has kindly come. So remember, this is Bhishma glorifying Krishna. He was talking about, he was pacifying Yudhishthira and the Pandavas, and now he's glorifying Krishna. He was telling the Pandavas how fortunate that they were to have Krishna in their midst as a relative and a messenger and so many things. Yet despite his being equally kind to everyone, he has graciously come before me while I am ending my life, for I am his unflinching servitor. So now he's very grateful for now Krishna has appeared here as Bhishma was contemplating ending his life. So purport, the Supreme Lord, the Absolute Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, although equal to everyone, is still more inclined to his unflinching devotee, who is completely surrendered and knows no one else as his protector and master. How can that be? That seems like a contradiction. He's equal to everyone, and yet he's more inclined to the devotee. That's not equal, or it doesn't seem like it's equal. Why is it still equal?
Because you said how much ever he reciprocates you.
Yes, but that doesn't seem like it's equal. He's like, well, he's only, but yes, he is equal in that principle, that if whatever you give towards him, he will reciprocate. But how else?
He's giving everyone what they need, to come.
They need also not even just what they need, what they desire, and why he's more inclined to the devotees is because that's what the devotees desire. They desire the mercy of the Lord. He's fulfilling everybody's desire. The squirrel desires nuts, the pig desires stool, most human beings desire sex, And then they find all these things. No problem. But the devotee desires Krishna. And he also says, oh, very good. You want to see me? I've got you. So this is how he's actually equal to everyone. Whatever one desires, he gives facility for it. He doesn't make it like instantaneous, boom, the snap of your fingers. You have to work towards what you desire. But when you work towards the Lord, this is very good. This is very good. So he's equal to everyone. But he's still more inclined to the unflinching devotee who's completely surrendered and knows no one else as his protector and master. Having unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord as one's protector, friend, and master is the natural condition of eternal life. A living entity is so made by the will of the Almighty that he is most happy when placing himself in a condition of absolute dependence. Because that's really all we are anyway. It's like, it's our real ego to be completely dependent on the Lord. Any sense, we're in America, we're an independent country. Independence Day. No. What independence do we have? We have such a small free will. We should have a Dependence Day where we all remember that the Lord is really the master behind all things. So they have these holy holidays. You can call them Dependence Days. So anyway, the opposite tendency is the cause of fall down. The living entity has this tendency of falling down by dint, or dint means by the process of misidentifying himself as fully independent to lord it over the material world. The root cause of all troubles is there in false egotism. One must draw towards the Lord in all circumstances. So let's break this down. What does that mean? You think yourself fully independent to lord it over the material world. Someone break it down for me. Piyush, you look very contemplative over there.
No, I'm listening to you, bro.
Yes, so tell me, what's that?
Which are dependent?
What?
Identifying himself as fully dependent to lord it over the material world.
Yeah, independent to lord it over the material world. So how is that?
Because we think that we're not dependent on Krishna, and because we just think that we are the doer and that we depend on our own activities, our own karma, and we want to work so hard to acquire this amount of money, acquire this person, acquire this thing and that thing, and because of that, we're causing so many troubles and problems in our life.
And we don't understand that.
Identifying as that quote unquote independent person.
Yeah, we also don't understand that who is giving the sanction to everything that we're chasing anyway. We think that we're the Lord, I'm the master of the ashram, I'm the master of my position at work, I'm the master of my room, or whatever it is you think you're the master of. You're the master of none of it. The Lord is the master. And the Lord may give you sanction to act as a master. So for, right, like in one sense, the Lord is now finally sanctioning that he will sign over the house to us next week. Yes, that keeps going on because of the attorney stuff. But the sanction is there. But that doesn't mean I'm actually the master of the house. The legal right might be there that this body and identification with the body is now the legal owner of the house. But what master of it? If the Lord wants to send a cyclone or a blizzard or a fireball or whatever, boom, house is gone. There's no real independence. There's no real lording it over material nature. That's why the wise, they're dharmic, because they understand that the Lord sanctions everything, and that they should only acquire things that are sanctioned by the Lord. If they do V-karma or just snatch what they want, which most people are doing all kinds of V-karma. V-karma is actions which should not be done, which the Lord definitely doesn't recommend. He'll give you facility to do them. Like, you could say, well, why does the Lord let people rape other people? That's a very brutal, horrible thing. To be honest, it is very brutal and hard. Like I've heard many people, because we've been studying God for some time. Well, God doesn't let the bad things happen, right? I'm like, well, who does? If God has no control over the bad things happening, then what kind of God is He? God absolutely has control. That's the bad things happen, but there's ultimately a purpose for them, and there's consequences to the bad things happen, and also the unfortunate circumstances that when bad things happen to others, it must happen to them. It's actually for their benefit. It's actually the Lord's kindness. For whatever reason, you don't want to, be callous to people suffering and their pain. But actually, for whatever reason, when bad things happen, it's that soul needs to experience that. It's for their betterment. It could be a reaction to something they've done in the past. It could also be a facility to ultimately, like for instance, Prahlad Maharaj got tortured. He was sinless. He didn't deserve any torture. But actually, by him going through the process and having faith, the Lord protected him every step of the way. And actually, the Lord glorified him through those circumstances. Even Jesus Christ getting nailed to a cross. Look, he's still being glorified thousands of years later for his faith and determination and in miracles and so on. So this is actually the process. We're completely dependent. And any sense of independence is foolishness. And it's given by the Lord. The Lord gives you a sense of independence. But, the wise know, no, I'm completely dependent on you. So anyhow, let's finish this last paragraph. Come on down, Michelle, no problem. One must draw towards the Lord in all circumstances. The root cause of all troubles, before that he said, is there in false egotism, not understanding your position, thinking you the Lord over all the circumstances in life, but you're the Lord of no circumstances in life. You're either sanctioned by the Lord and you're completely dependent. We're not independent, we're dependent. So the opposite tendency is the cause of fall down. The living entity has this, we read that actually. The appearance of Lord Krishna at the deathbed of Bhishmaji is due to his being an unflinching devotee of the Lord. Arjuna had some bodily relation with Krishna because the Lord happened to be his maternal cousin. But Bhishma had no such bodily relation. Therefore, the cause of attraction was due to the intimate relation of the soul. Yet because the relation of the body is very pleasing and natural, the Lord is more pleased when he is addressed as the son of Maharaj Nanda, the son of Yashoda, the lover of Radharani. This affinity by bodily relation with the Lord is another feature of reciprocating loving service with the Lord. Bhishmadev is conscious of the sweetness of transcendental humor, and therefore he likes to address the Lord as Vijaya Sakhe, or Partha Sakhe, etc., exactly like Nanda Nandana or Yashoda Nandana. The best way to establish our relation in transcendental sweetness is to approach him through his recognized devotees. One should not try to establish the relation directly. There must be a via medium, which is transparent and competent to lead us to the right path. That's another big topic. But the Lord's devotees are very dear to him, and the Lord actually himself enjoys when the devotee and him have a special relationship, and even being identified as like Yashoda Nandana, or the son of Yashoda. There's that Christian song, Mary, did you know, we were talking about it yesterday, that your baby boy, born, Jesus was the son of Mary. Oftentimes that's referenced like this. And even, the whole Christian faith, they're not so interested in the Father God. They're interested in the Son God. And even Jesus said himself, no. Now, the actual translation into English is often weaponized and totally misused. But when he was saying, nobody comes to the Father except through me, it would be like, we're all lost in the forest. And here I am speaking to you guys, and I know the way out of the forest. And you guys are trying to figure out the way out of the forest. In this instance, it would be going to the Father, coming to God. And Jesus is saying, none of you are going to come to the Father except through me. And he was telling them very authoritatively, and not only them, nobody in that entire sphere of the world is definitely not coming to the Father with the current information that they have. So he's the way, the truth, the life, and so on. There must be a via medium to get to God. You're not so elevated that, I'll just achieve God. This is our lack of humility. But by good fortune, just like we were all born in this world to what? Who were we born to? Michelle, you probably know the answer to this one.
To love God.
Yeah, no. But who? Even like on a yes, but even on a more material. How were you born?
You're born through your mother.
Your parents, yeah, your parents work together to make sure that you're born. What's that mean? We were given guidance from the very onset. So similarly, if we want spiritual, if we want to be, and Jesus says, right, what you must be born again in order to seek the kingdom of God. So that means you have to be born and get what? Guidance.
Spiritually.
Yeah. Well, you have to become spiritually born, but same way you have to be spiritually raised. Just like Jesus raised the disciples, and in just the same way, we need a spirit. We pray to the spiritual master we need spiritual guidance. And in now also it's recommended that we get living guidance, that we don't just like, okay, well, I prayed to my spiritual master today, or I prayed to Jesus today. Great, that's nice. Maybe if they have mercy on you, they'll give you a living, breathing person who can check you when you're acting like nonsense. Because, we can read these wonderful books, we can read the Bible, we can read Prabhupada's books, we can read the Vedic Shastras, and you'd be like, yes, okay. I like it if it means this. But if you have guidance in your life, they'll tell you, no, what the hell are you doing? Just like if a child is walking around and wants to put his hand in the stove. The mother says, are you nuts, you stupid little thing? Maybe they don't say it like that, but they're thinking, what are you doing? Putting your hand in the fire. It's better, or you can learn the hard way. There's two ways to learn. The way we're currently learning, the hard way, everything's the hard way. Or with guidance, we can hear and we can know, I shouldn't put my hand in the fire. That's not a good idea. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't go down into the ditch, and so on. So anyway, I'm very happy to have this guidance. I'm very happy to have personal guidance in my life. One of my intentions in going to India, my wife and I are going, it's official, in a few weeks, is we're going to refortify and re-strengthen the guidance in our life, because it's necessary. We won't be able to give any proper guidance here if we don't get some guidance. We're not independent to give guidance. We're completely dependent on guidance to give any guidance. So anyhow, thank you for joining. Hare Krishna. Michelle, thank you for joining. No problem. We do it every day at 7:45, except Sundays and Wednesdays. So, actually tomorrow we won't do it in the morning because we're going to all go to Ithaca later in the day. We're going to leave by 1:30 tomorrow.
Oh, is it in Cornell?
No, it's at Mukunda's place. He's having people. But it's 3 to 5. It's early. It's an early program. So we'll be back earlier. Like 7:30 or so we'll be back. So yes, you can end